go to dentalresidencyhq.com, dentalresidencyhq.com for some more resources. You mentioned the things that you had to learn about the pass application, reforming some relationships, especially those that probably you would want to contact to help you with your letters of recommendation.
Yes.
Right. Very key, especially contacting the school, because you have to get a dean's letter.
Yes.
And that's a requirement. Some programs do not or will not bypass that letter. So whether it's 1 year, 10 years, or 15 years, you gotta get that. You gotta get that letter. But I think also part of the thing that's important about getting the application is making sure that you have documented your narrative and your story, right? Because that will be something that you will need to share as part of your personal statement, and also it will also be reflective in your CV as well. So all of those things are related to your application and preparing your application, right? So once you get your application, or even before you are putting together your application, you start having ideas, and some of those ideas can come from colleagues or mentors that say, hey, like in your case, hey, I've got 3 or 4 programs that you should definitely apply to. So let's talk about that process for you and other things that you did to come up with a list of programs, and how you came up with that list that you felt fit you the best, in the best way. Meaning, why did you end up applying to these certain programs?
Right. So everything you said about keeping relationships and being ready with the CV and the personal statement, all 100% true. I think because I was still the same kind of person from dental school that I was, even though 13 years later, I was still doing volunteer work. I was still doing nonprofit work. Like I hadn't changed as a person, like, because that was my quote unquote narrative through dental school as well, was, oh, nonprofit, I want to give back when I'm a dentist. And that I was still doing that. And they were like, okay, we still see, oh, you actually opened a nonprofit. Oh, you're still the same person that you told us you were. I think that really helped them write me a strong dean's letter. Even though I had been out for 13 years, they could see, like you just said, from my CV and my personal statement, that I was the person that I told them I would be after I graduated. I didn't turn into, in my case, like an aesthetic cosmetic dentist only treating, VIP and the Upper West Side. Like I still do rural mission trips, and they're like, that's what she says she'd do. She's doing it. We can still vouch for her. She's still the same Tinashe from dental school. 100% on that one. And then now I've forgotten the question. What was your question?
Oh, we were saying the number of programs that you applied to,
yes.
and why you picked those programs.
So I picked the programs. One, my mentors are biased. They're like, you will apply to the programs we went to because we still have good relationships and we will write you strong letters. So those 2 schools were in. Coincidentally, they were both on the East Coast. And for me and my family, right, because it's not just me going to orthodontic residency, it's me and my family. It's going to be quite a significant sacrifice to be away for 2 years. So my family had to be like a part of the decision about where I could go. So for example, West Coast was not an option. They're like, that's too many flights. We need a direct flight. So ultimately, when it came to location, it was locations that have a direct flight from Bermuda. So usually it's 2.5 hours to like the Miami area, New York area, Boston area, Atlanta, Georgia, Washington, DC. We had to be a direct flight under 3 hours, thinking of the 3 kids, thinking of my husband. And so after that, once we're like, okay, location, these are all the schools on the East Coast, direct flight. Which ones do I think would serve me well? So after that, I started looking at programs that offer early interceptive orthodontics. I wanted to really get good with functional appliances and appliances that you could use for kids that might have sleep-related breathing disorders. So schools that would have either an ENT program, oral surgery programs, or a pediatric dental program. I was like, they have to have at least one of those three. If they have all three, perfect. Because then I can hobnob and get to know them. Because just again, thinking in the future, Bermuda doesn't really have like orthodontic surgeons. Bermuda doesn't really have pediatric ENTs. But if I'm able to form those relationships whilst I'm in school, when it comes to time to refer or even have somebody come and locum from any of the specialists, I'll have personal relationships with providers who are already experts in their field. And I can make a call or consult. Again, just thinking to the future about the services that are needed here. Yeah, so we're quite intentional about the programs we were picking. I was like,
and
no,
that's cool. And that's cool that you approached it that way, but also it was real intentional because that's what you're looking for in a program.
Yeah.
Right. Because we get questions all the time as to, well, what program should I apply to? How many? And, the best advice is, well, let's back up first.
Yeah.
Let's back up based on what you're looking for in programs. And if you haven't gone through that exercise yet, you need to do that exercise as part. And as you're going through that exercise, you'll start looking at programs that you'll get some information from programs and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll put that down to do maybe a deeper dive.
Yeah.
But to your point, you were looking for something very specific based on what you want and how you envision yourself practicing in the next 20, 30 years, right?
Exactly.
And that was what sounded like from your answer that it's definitely going to be based off of interdisciplinary care and integration. Integration of oral health with medicine.
Exactly. I do not want to be a jack of all trades, master of none. I'm like, you're the master. I need you to master this for my patient, please. I'll figure out this part. You figure out this part.
Right. Yeah. So programs that have that approach, or at least have that intersection, is key. So again, for those of you listening and watching, you need to determine what you're looking for first.
Yeah.
And that will help you come up with your list of programs, and your why for those programs, right? Exactly. Location. For some people are looking for programs that pay, versus, pay a stipend versus a tuition or something like that, right? Some people are looking to get a master's in ortho programs. So if you're looking for that because maybe you have some research ideas, or maybe you're thinking about academia in the future. Not that you need a master's to teach, but some people want to have that additional credential to add with the board certification as well. So many different reasons for picking certain programs, and reasons that will differ from applicant to applicant.
Exactly.
So thanks for sharing that with us. So again, what was the total number of programs you ended up starting off with on your
11.
Your final list? 11.
I applied to 11 total, all on the East Coast. Yep.
Good. And there's about 50, 60 ortho programs. So 11 of those. So great. So
I'm not gonna lie. Actually, I lied.
Go ahead.
I applied to one in the middle country. But I liked that program because their program director understands airway and dental sleep medicine. So again, just going back to like really vetting the program directors and what their special interests were. And I'm interested in that part as well. So I was like, oh, well, that's their part of the curriculum. I want that too. So I did apply to their program. Yeah.
That's good. So 12.
11.
So 11. One of them just happened to be in the Midwest. So after 11 programs, you submit, everyone knows what you have to do then, which is wait. And some people unfortunately wait longer than others, but some people, depending on when you apply and submit your past application and any other documents, you should hear very early on, which could be as early as maybe August, maybe even September, especially with ortho being in phase 1 of the match. So, and I think there might be 1 or 2 programs that are not part of the match, but I would say over 90% of all the ortho programs are in match, which means phase 1, which means usually the Monday before Thanksgiving is when the results come out and when candidates know if you've been accepted and where you're going to be going, right? Next assignment is go to the next video. Go to the next video right now. Go, go, go. Love, peace, and smiles. Go to the next video. Go to the next video.